Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. One of the many ways to describe this morning. Thank you for the message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I spent time with my daughter yesterday, and a little brief history. Wasn't in my daughter's life for 2 years. She's 4 now. The first 2 years I wasn't there. It was a whole paternity and COVID shutting stuff down and blah, 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 blah. But after she was 2, I was able to connect with her again due to COVID and me getting put down, as I would like to say it. And in those months of me being there and interacting, a bond was formed. And I realized I had a little princess to go with my prince. And the reason why I am saying this and going back to this time is that I just realized the other day spending time with her. Now this is past 4 years of her being born. About 2 I have been in her life. And it wasn't until yesterday, because I had to take some time to myself. I had to do some healing, some thinking, some prioritizing, because I realized that I was not the type of parent that should be around kids being this way. But back to the topic, the subject at hand. It was while I was spending time with her yesterday that I finally understood, just listening to her giggle and say daddy this and daddy this. It made me realize just what effect a male has on a little girl's life. Now, there are plenty of incidences where there aren't 2 parents, there is just one. But this is more for those who are actually in their kids' lives. The men who know, who have the option and choose not to. Or those who never understood what I felt and what I said. As I looked at my little girl, I realized that up until now, these 2 years and some change, I cared for you. I never fully understand why they say that a child has daddy issues, or they didn't have a father in their lives. Now, a little history. My mother raised me, so it's not one to say that a single parent cannot do it, but this is for those who are well aware. And as I looked at her, I realized that, oh my God, I get it. I understand that my interactions, how I treat this little girl, is going to determine what type of people she's going to be attracted to. And let me also say forced to as well. And when force comes, it means not being like. You don't want to be with somebody that has those qualities, morals. So at times, bad decisions can be made. But it was a painful thing to realize that what was I doing all of this time? Was I just going through the motion? Was I just doing my responsibilities because I brought this child into the world? And the paternity test says that you are the father. Well, actually, it was like 600 billion, something million, something hundreds, something thousands to one. Yeah, so there was no other probability. But I did not get it. I didn't get it until I saw the way she was just reacting and happy, being around me, seeing me playing games on her tablet with her. And we do those things. We do those things and we don't fully realize. And I didn't know what I might have spoke about this morning. I didn't have a clue, but it was just through talking, just regular talking. Because it is a painful feeling when you realize that you could be messing up your child's future. That my lack of being there or not being focused enough to see that this child is like a sponge, absorbing all of my actions, whether I know it or not. It's okay. You did the best that you could for those who tried, and for those that never made it home, who had to do whatever was necessary just to provide me clean clothes, all the necessities. It's okay. It wasn't time for you to understand, or maybe you just refused to understand the impact that you had or that you're having. But I get it. And because I understand, it will be okay. It is something that is joked about a lot. But until you're an actual father, and until you get that moment where it hits you like a sledgehammer, nothing you can say, nothing you can use to rebuttal the fact of it is what it is. How this little girl is going to grow up is going to be determined on me. She will inherit things from her mother, but she has to have some kind of standards. And whatever standards that I have been putting out in the past were not up to par. To where I can ask myself that question: would I want my daughter to bring somebody like me home? And that person that I was, hell no. Better yet, hell fucking no. And all I could think about is asking my daughter, well, why wouldn't you want to be with somebody that's better than me? And I can answer that question because that's all she's known is what I've shown her. And that is a frightening future. And it is a sad one. But it was meaning in the past. I mean, just watching that little face light up with so much joy, to be watching, to be seeing me interacting close by. And I had to break away for some time. I had to do some healing. I had to get my mind ready, get my priorities in order before I could take this battle straight on. And in that time, I've heard of things of her just crying out for her daddy at random. And it broke my heart, because I still love and I still care. But how I was at that time, I could not be around her, because I sort of got a glimpse of what I have been doing or how I've been affecting her life. But it came in full force. And it was like, so this is what it means. This is why I've been so set and focused on having certain things in a certain manner. I've come to that realization. And when you have the feeling of realization, because I figured this little part out yesterday when I was talking. The feeling of realization. To put it simply, it is the moment, or it is that feeling when you realize you understand what something that you have heard and many, many times have been said. And that's what I felt. More of us never got to this. It's still a growing issue. Kids need their fathers in their lives. If they don't have one, they can still be raised right. It still can be done. But for those who didn't, you were needed. It needs to be said. You fucked up. Maybe there was a different route. Maybe you could have tried harder. But what is done is done. And not sure how your offspring reacted to your absence or your actions. But I'm sure you watched. And if even it took tens of thousands of years or less, it should have sunk in that this is you. We are a product of our parents. But just like many products that you can purchase, we can be upgraded. We can find better ways and stuff like that. But if that cycle is just continuing, and even though you're past, you still do not reach out from beyond, you're still contributing. But those that did realize, that did understand, that did feel disgusted in themselves at what they have become or what they have allowed, thank you for the message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for my blessing yesterday. I said it last night. I'm going to say it this morning. That step is here. It is there. What it's supposed to be used for, it will be used for in full force today. Because we know what is waiting for us at the end of this month. Well, it's already ours. But, they'll physically be in my hand. And that little princess will know that her daddy is growing up. Her daddy has a house. She can go to her father's house. These are the type of qualities she should look for. I'm not saying to be super dependent on, but it is qualities that she should look for. Someone who had their or has their head on, or trying to do things, trying to be better, trying to lift her up and motivate her as well. I get it. Thank you for that realization. Thank you for humbling me enough to where my main focus is my children, my kids. I was not a good father figure, but I will be. I will be better than I ever was before. And I will continue to love that child and her siblings just as well. To where if they are in a situation where they are not with the father, or the father of their child is not in the kid's life, she can reflect on how I raised her and her brothers and instill that in him as a type of man that he should grow up to be. There are answers, people. There are answers everywhere. We just have to look, take our time, be patient, truly want what we're asking for, and are willing to do what is necessary to get what we are asking for when we are told how to get it. If only we had taken time and maybe thought a little more, and instead of it being left on the next person or the next man or woman. We have all had an opportunity to change things in our future. What we did with it, or what we chose to do, depicted everything else. As time grew along and we were allowed to do more and show our kids more and teach them more, that did not become the focus. I realized this. I realized that from all of my days when I was growing up, not knowing my father, curious, my mother at times not even wanting to say things, or whenever the topic was mentioned, you could still hear the pain and hurt in her voice. But it did not change the way that she raised me. To still have those morals and to still understand what it means to be a family. Now, once I got into my adulthood, my points of view and my values changed in the way I did things. But thankfully, you brought me back. You brought me back to where I can still make an even greater difference before it is too late. Children are moldable. We can mold them like clay. And it should never be to be in our image. It should be in a better image of us. But it's okay for those who did not understand the message, who didn't do anything in time, who weren't able to do anything in time. It's all right. As long as you understand and you accept, it ends with me. All of those trials, all of that feeling of regret is gone. I realized that. It fully ended yesterday. I am responsible. I am the future. I am what is needed in this lifetime to make it a better place for this little girl. For her to be able to take on the views of this world and how women are treated. And that is by both sexes. How women are treated by men and women at times are no different. But to instill in her that if my daddy could do it, my daddy made it, my daddy showed me this, she can make it in this world. And I thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you that you woke me up once again. You woke me up once again, and I'm forever grateful. I humbly await for more directions. Thank you once again. Amen.